All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our NBC Sports press event for the U.S. Olympic Team Trials Track and Field. My name is Chris McCluskey, Vice President of Communications for NBC Sports and Olympics, and I'd like to introduce our track and field lead play-by-play voice, Lee Diffie, and our Olympic analysts, Sonia Richards-Ross, Trey Hardy, Otto Bolden, all Olympic medalists. We're going to begin in just a moment with opening remarks from each of our speakers, and then we'll turn it over to questions from the audience. And begin now with opening remarks from Lee Diffie.
Thanks, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Thrilled for all of us to be here, especially with weather like this, and to know that the stands are going to be packed. At NBC Sports, we really not only pride ourselves, but really genuinely enjoy doing the marquee events, and to have these Olympic trials coming off the back of the swimming trials, which there's a lot of momentum. Team USA is looking so strong. We were all just remarking backstage we're still kind of buzzing from the World Championships last year in Budapest, which was a real high point for Team USA. We thoroughly enjoyed it personally and professionally, and so with the key storylines that we've got going for the next 10 days and with this team and our extended team, we couldn't be more excited to be here with you. So looking forward to it. And the bonus is we get to be in prime time on NBC each and every night of the 8 days of coverage across the 10 days of being here. So looking forward to it.
Yes, so excited for this competition, and most importantly, to have the opportunity to share the stories of these incredible athletes. It's really thrilling for me. I feel like Team USA has so much depth and star power across so many events. I think that the fans back home are going to have a lot to root for in Paris. So just super excited. Love my team. I'm really blessed to get to do this with some really incredible people. Excited that, like Lee said, we're going to be in prime time on NBC, so everyone will get to see the performances. So yeah, really excited. You know, we just want to be a conduit to share the good news of all the things that are happening here out of Eugene. And there's no better place to do it on NBC and no better people to do it with. So I'm super excited about it. Thank you.
Just on the back of what Sonia said, I think this is my 6th Olympic trials, 3rd as a commentator, and it gets more and more exciting to be able to be on this side of action, and again be some vehicle or conduit to share the excitement and the impressiveness and the prowess of what peak physical performance looks like, and how special all of these athletes are, and what this grandest of stages really is. You know, several Olympic trials ago, the phrase was coined, this is the hardest team to make, and getting to help the general public in prime time understand the gravity of what all of that is like, gives me goosebumps. I remember what it was like 4 years out as an athlete preparing for these moments, and we're going to get to see some amazing drama and some amazing victories and the best competition on the planet play out, and I just feel really grateful to be a part of every single bit of it, especially with this team and with all of the fantastic production crew and management and leadership at NBC. And so I can't get started fast enough. It's kind of like being an athlete where you just want the gun to go off. You want the competition to start. You've been ready for this your whole life, and here we are.
If I'm being honest, I spend 4 years waiting on Olympic years. And this time we haven't had to wait 4 years. We've only had to wait 3. So it's a thrill for me to be part of the team. This is my 8th Olympic trials, and I think my 4th or 5th as a broadcaster. The truth is that I invited somebody to the trials a couple of years ago, and they said, you can't tell who's who, because if you make the team, you're crying. If you don't make the team, you're crying. That's why we bring all these cameras and this great team to cover the event, because we want America to love track and field as much as we do, and that's the pressure that we feel, if any, as another Olympic trials starts. So I've always said this is in the top 3 meets that I cover, and I don't think it's 3rd. So we are very excited to get going, and like the athletes, there are a little bit of butterflies, a little bit of nerves, but we are more excited, I think, than anything else. I'd
just like to add that you guys know these men and women on our team as Olympians and world champions and medalists, and they're never going to say it themselves. So that's why I'd like to say it, is that the dedication and professionalism that they had with their athletic pursuits, but from behind the scenes, they take their broadcasting careers equally as serious. And I'm fortunate where I get to work on a lot of different teams, on a lot of different sports at NBC Sports. And I have to say, in no disrespect to the others, this is my favourite team because of what Cara and Paul and Lewis and Addo and Trey and Sonia bring to the broadcasts. And all of our senior management are coming here over the next 10 days. We've got select celebrities coming as well, Snoop Dogg and others. Our leader, Mike Tirico, our on-air leader, Mike Tirico, will be here. So this is a really big deal for our company, and so hence the excitement, exuding from us. So thank you, Chris.
Hi, I'd throw this out to anybody who wants to answer it. There's some events and races where there's a prohibitive favorite. We're more looking at a clock. And I'm asking this about this week, but also Paris. There's always a couple special ones where we actually don't know who's going to win. What do you think about the sort of niceness, sorry for that wording, of having a race where they're lining up and you have no idea who's going to win it?
I think those are the I think those are the ones that we are more eager to cover. Look, there's no such thing as a lock at these championships, at these trials, but we know that Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone is likely to make the team. We know in the 200, you're right, there are other athletes, but to me at least, it's so much more interesting when that gun is in the air and I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen. And that to me is the beauty of the trials.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Otto. I think especially in the women's 400, right? My favorite event. You can't really call it yet. There's lots of opportunity for there to potentially be some first-time women making that team. And, we know what that's like, to be able to have this dream all your life and then realize it on this big stage in this moment. So like Otto said, it's fun to call races with Sydney and Noah. Obviously with Sydney, we're always watching the clock, but I think that it's even more compelling to tell someone's story for the first time, or to see a dream realized for the first time, or see someone run a lifetime best and make the team. So yeah, really excited to see some of those races that we don't know what's going to happen, to see what unfolds there.
Again, for everyone, this would be exciting in an empty field. There would be the same pressure in an empty field. But talk about what this venue does for this event and how special the venue is.
As an athlete that had to compete against Ashton Eaton here, I absolutely hated it. And it wasn't until it was all over that I absolutely appreciated every aspect of it, from the little houses that surround this venue to the walk into the stands to the warm-up facility, to even like at my lowest moments, like the crowd brought me back out of some of my biggest failures here, and I took it for granted as an athlete. But as a professional on the other side of all of this, this is impossible to recreate. It's hard to describe, but there's magic here. Everybody thinks it's the track or the wind or the facility, all that's, it's not that. There's something about this that draws out every single person's best performance, and we're going to get to watch it over the next 2 weeks, and that's it, period.
Hi, curious, this one's for Trey. There's obviously been a little bit of chatter in the atmosphere about field events and their place in the sport and the future of the sport even. And I'm curious how you, as a commentator for the field events, are viewing the Olympic trials as an opportunity to storytell about the field events, and perhaps what you're most excited about for the field events at this competition.
I don't know if I can answer like the question and how it's framed, but I do know that if you have ever been to a track and field meet and watched a field event in its entirety, you see a beautiful, dramatic narrative unfold round after round, throw after throw, jump after jump. There are makes and misses. There's gamesmanship. There's passing bars. There's a lot that goes on. And from a television perspective and how we have to produce a television show without it feeling too jumpy and jerky and messing around, we do our best to tell that story, to develop those characters, to explain the drama of each situation. And I think it might have been even like a year ago, had a sharp, counter argument to somebody who made a comment about how the field events were dragging everything down. And I thought I made a pretty good point about how some of the most impressive things in track and field are out on the infield, and some of the most beautiful movements in the sport, in the pole vault and the javelin and the discus and all the athleticism that's involved. I think the best athletes in the sport are on the infield, and that's my task, is to showcase that amazing capability through joy and awe and respect, and doing my best to tell those athletes' stories throughout the competition.
I think one of the most beautiful things is when, during the duration of a broadcast, our energy and emotions rise and fall as they have to. You can't be at the same level all the way through. And one of the most beautiful moments for us is when there is an event on the track getting ready to start, and there is an epic moment in a field event. The crowd go crazy, everybody's jacked, and then within a matter of seconds, the gun goes off for that event. That helps us. Yeah. That really lifts us. That takes us to another gear too. So just, it's like hand in glove. Like, just the way it goes together, it helps.
Yeah, I also want to say, just kind of on the broader scope of your question, is that I think what has always made track and field so special is how inclusive it is. It's one of the few sports where you can have someone like a Sha'Carri and a Ryan Krauser, right? Where it can invite so many people to be a part of the sport and to watch the sport. So I just think the field has always been kind of that magic sauce that our sport has that makes it so special. And although I am not a field eventer on the professional level, I did do some field events in high school. There's not about, is there a place for field? The sport is track and field, period. You got to say what needs to be said, Trey. You got to tell them what
Should we just leave after that statement, I guess, then, at this point? This question for Sonia and Otto. We've always talked about the big stars here and just the professionals and sometimes collegiate athletes, but we always want to shine the light on the high school athletes. We've seen Sydney make the team in 2016. We saw Arian make the team in 2021. From both your vantage points, what have you guys seen from Christian Miller and what he's really done this year? I know it's different when you get to the trials and the times speak for themselves in the competition, but really this young man has proven himself to be a threat this year.
Yeah, I think he really has. I know a lot of people would have probably seen the 993, and we can be cynical in the sport. Yeah, well, he ran it at a place where a lot of people run fast. To me, what he just ran last week and backing it up with the 995 tells me that he's not just coming here to make up the numbers. He is going to make that final. I would be shocked if he doesn't make the final. And look, I was here in 2016 to watch Noah Lyles get fourth and Michael Norman get fifth. They're both world champions now, and they almost made that team. And of course, you talked about Sydney and Arian making the team. It is not outside the realm of possibilities that he makes the team. And I think stories like him, Mackenzie Long, and there's some others of people who America maybe is not as familiar with. Those are the stories that I think I love to tell, because you can, in the way that now we can look back 8 years and say, look at where Noah was and look at where he is now. Look at where Michael Norman was, look at where he is now. I think, Christian could be one of those where it's like, we could be talking, in the next 4 and 8 years about, hey, remember the 2024 trials when, he was just a high schooler, but, he got fourth, or he made the team, or, he really, upset a lot of bigger names. That to me is what the trials are about. It's everybody gets a lane and a bib, and everything else is up to you.
For want of a better word, enjoyed it, because it is a compelling story. And, when we were in this position several years ago, and when we left and thought that she'd made the team for Tokyo, and then, we know what happened after that, I think to see her grow as a woman, as a human, and grow as an athlete has been a compelling story, and to see the confidence that she has now when she steps out on that track. I don't think there was ever a confidence deficiency, don't get me wrong, but it's a different type of confidence now. And you know, we were literally on the edge of our seats in Budapest, and to win that final the way that she won it, that took her to another level, and so we thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think none of us knew in the moment kind of what we were watching when she made the team, and of course subsequently was no longer on the team, and how the entire world, you know, got involved and were caught up in the magic of who Sha'Carri is. And we've had a wonderful opportunity to watch her have to also deal with all of that and to mature and to grow. And it's been really beautiful to see how she is now like really standing in what it means to be the face of the sprints. It comes with a lot. And you know, it was really nice to see her win the world championship title in Budapest, because until you win one, it's the pressure just sometimes continues to mount and mount. And so, you know, now she's going to step on the track as the world champion, the reigning world champion. And, you know, I think that she has a real shot at being the Olympic champion with the way the women's 100 has been going. So for us, that's fun, you know, to be able to be talking about the fastest woman in the world, and she's from Team USA, and you know NBC gets to cover that. It's really, really great. So yeah, you know, we love it. We talk about her all the time, and I'm excited to see what she does here, and hopefully what she will do. You know, God willing, she's able to make that team for her. You know, what she'll do in Paris.
When NBC hired me 17 years ago, the guy that hired me said, "I want the love that you have for track and field and the enthusiasm. I want that to carry through the airwaves and go to America." Sha'Carri makes my job, our job, easier, because from the baggage handler to the Uber driver, people who know what I do for a living, they're like, how is Sha'Carri looking? How is she doing? She's the highest Q-rated athlete we have in our sport. And I also look forward. Sha'Carri's the world champion. If she goes to Paris, takes care of business in this 100, and she's the Olympic champion, where's the next Olympics? Oh, that's right, it's in America. So we are grateful that we even have the chance to cover somebody like a Sha'Carri Richardson, because she is so important to the sport, not just globally, but domestically. So it's a pleasure for us to cover that young woman.
Us unlock that 4x1 relay squad in the Bahamas, so we can talk a little bit about that, as the U.S. got all 4 of its relay squads qualified in the Bahamas at the World Relays. Next to him, Katura Orji, looking to make her 3rd Olympic team. Another one of those folks who back in Rio was just kind of getting started, and now an amazing career arc and a real interesting event discipline this year with Yulimar Rojas, unfortunately injured. You talk about favorites coming into an Olympic year. The U.S. really has a trio of very talented triple jumpers, and I think a real strong story going into Paris. Harrison Williams, our reigning decathlon champion, 7th in the World Championships last year in Budapest, coming off of a rather tumultuous 2022. So it was just great to see him back healthy and at the top of his game. And if you heard him talking in the mixed zone after Budapest, he says, I'm not satisfied and I'm not done yet. So here he is, ready for a busy 2 days of work. Athing Mu and her bright smile is here. Last I saw her was at a Chargers game in LA, where she was firing the cannon, and then the Ravens beat them in the 4th quarter. So maybe we got to get you back to that cannon fire here in coming weeks. But it's just great to have you here, and we'll obviously talk a little bit about her health and her readiness as she prepares to defend her Olympic title from Tokyo at 800 meters. And the guy that I know everyone in this room is cheering for, Eric Holt, who made some sort of viral news in the last week, being very authentic and raw and open and honest about why he is here. And I think, Eric, I'm going to start with you, because I think you represent so much of what is great about the Olympic trials. There are so many dreams to be fulfilled here. You were 4th in your event just a couple of years ago, and you come in wanting to be on an Olympic team for the very first time. And I know, speaking from our NBC coverage too, it is very important for us to cover who wins and comes across the line first, but sometimes those battles for 2nd and 3rd and making that team is as much the story in the making as anything else that we cover. So were you surprised? I know you got a lot of reaction from athletes who saw your post-meet interview in New York, and just kind of your mentality here, coming here and wanting to make this team, and basically have put your life sort of on hold to be in a position to make this team.
Thank you for having me on. But yeah, I feel very privileged to be here. Not many people get to do exactly what they want to do in life, and I quit the sport for about a year or so, and I worked in a psych ward for 4 long years, and so to do something that I love to do and do it at the highest level is honestly an honor. And I always told my parents and my friends and family that if there's anything I can do in my life, it's be a professional track athlete. And I would say honestly, like at the New York Grand Prix, I was 0.03 seconds, a lean away from beating Jake Whiteman, 2022 world champion. And honestly, I have one of the best coaches, I believe, John Trotman, a 92 Olympian, and I want to make the Olympics to, do what my coach did. But more importantly, I've been telling myself, giving myself confidence that I can beat anyone in my event. And I feel like that's made a big difference because I know I struggle sometimes. I'm like, oh, I'm a little heavier. Maybe these runners are just a little younger or a little better than me, but I tell myself I don't accept that. I can beat anyone in any type of race, and I'm just, like I said, I'm honored to be here, and I want to let people to know, I'm doing what I want to do in my life, and more importantly, I want people to believe in me, and I believe I'm a contender, and I plan on making this team, and I believe I will, and we'll find out. But it's exciting. I mean, I'm very proud of myself to be at this point, and we'll see what happens. So
it's why we line up and race. It'll be fun to watch you, and best of luck to you. A thing, we had hoped to see you in a couple of our broadcasts earlier on in the season, but you've been taking sort of a careful approach to your training and your preparation here. So allow us to hear from you, and how are you feeling, and you're just kind of your mindset coming into this trials. And grab a mic.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. Clearly, you guys have seen the past couple months for me getting ready to compete, but not actually being able to, or it not, Coach and I thinking it's not like the best time for us to go out and compete. The season has been going really great. I mean, I think after Prefontaine, we kind of ended on a high note, and I let that mindset carry me through the beginning of the season. And so I was really super happy and excited about just changing how things and how I approach just this year. And unfortunately, we just had a little boo-boo come along, and we, as always, just had to find the right approach, which is preparing for the more important means, which is, of course, making the Olympic team and being at USA's. Bobby loves USA's. He loves the World Championships. He loves the Olympic Games. And it's always just a priority for us every single year. And so just taking a step back for a second to gather ourselves, get back healthy, and to get to this moment. So I'm super happy that I have the opportunity to compete here again. It's super exciting to just be back in actually in the competitor's mindset versus just practicing and working out every day. So I'm happy to step on the track finally tomorrow and just start off a great weekend onto the journey of Olympics Part 2, hopefully.
And does it feel different given what the experience in 21? Obviously, you're going through that for the first time, and obviously the success that you had in Tokyo. But how are you different this week walking into this room?
Well, I think, of course, the first thing is this is my second Olympic trials. 2021 was kind of just a going through the motion year for me. I mean, coming off of my first year as a collegiate athlete, then going professional, then, making my first Olympic team, it all was a new experience for me. So coming into this second cycle, it's really nice to have that background knowledge of, one, knowing that I have the capabilities to make the team, and two, knowing what it takes to make the team and what comes after. So, I mean, I'm just coming in pretty confident. I'm pretty happy with just, once again, being able to be here and knowing that it's not my first go-around, not even just with the Olympics, but just competing at USA's in general. And so, I mean, just kind of taking all my experiences and using it into preparing for these rounds.
You said you went through the motions in 21. You were pretty good at going through the motions,
yeah.
if I think about how you successfully maneuvered through that. Harrison, you are the defending U.S. champion. U.S. has always performed well in Olympic years as it relates to the decathlon. We've got Ashton Eaton's there in the back. I don't know if you have to go for a meal at Ashton Eaton's on your way through between days 1 and day 2, and Trey obviously had success in London in 2012, but sort of that you know, that heritage and this event, certainly U.S. has high expectations, not only for making the team, but obviously success in Paris.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, Team USA is the hardest to make, especially in the decathlon, because we have such a deep level of talent. So, you know, it's a nice boost of confidence when you make the team to know that, like, okay, I can win a medal at this next, you know, Olympics. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
You know, take us back to the injury, hip injury in 22, and we reflect on that and the success you had last year. Is that all in your rearview mirror now? And you can kind of, I mean, it just takes such a toll on your body to put yourself through these 2-day events, but where are you health-wise, and what do you think that injury plague season has done for you looking at this trials and hopefully a trip to Paris?
Yeah, you know, obviously I had a hip injury in 2021 and then a plantar fascia injury during the trials in 21, so that was a pretty tough one to come back from physically and mentally, especially after finishing 4th at that meet. But it's definitely given me a lot of motivation this year to make sure that I make the team and hopefully win. And yeah, I'm just hoping to not finish 4th again.
To the crowd, I think one of the great things about Eugene and the audiences here is you draw a crowd for those multi-events, and those can be long stretches. That pole vault competition on day 2 sometimes appears like a hostage situation. You're just waiting for those bars to get raised and work through those incremental progressions. But what is it about the crowd here at Hayward that you enjoy?
This is an awesome place to compete for the decathlon. I mean, it's one of the only places in the country where people actually show up for the morning session of the decathlon, which is you know, huge to have actual fans in the stadium rather than just parents. So yeah, it's really one of my favorite places to compete, especially in this huge stadium, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Katurah, everyone that I talk to that gets on that front runway next to the grandstands here at Hayward enjoys that stage as well, the energy and the rhythm and the way this facility has been designed to really sort of be an amphitheater to that main straightaway. Where does this venue fit into your favorite places to compete?
Yeah, I love competing here. I've had most of my success here, from NCAA championships to U.S. championships. The crowd loves the jumps, and some stadiums you go to, you try to get the clap going. People are staring at you, but in Eugene, you barely started the clap, and they're already clapping for you. So I just love that about here, and they know the athletes, they know who I am, and so I really appreciate that they appreciate the sport.
That 4th place finish in Rio, still the best performance by an American in the triple jump, and now the breakthrough with the bronze medal in Oregon 22, and you and Tori and Jasmine Moore and others are really kind of carrying the hopes for U.S. success. Has that competition amongst now the 3 of you really helped push you as you look for a 3rd appearance, and do you feel as though all 3 of you, if were to make the team, could make a viable chance to be on a podium and break that medal drought?
Yes, definitely. I think anytime you go out to compete, anything can happen. And as you mentioned, there have been some injuries in the event this year. So it's really wide open for anyone to take it on. And I think all of us, if you look at our personal best and our consistency, are able to do that. And so I'm just glad we're all able to push each other. And I'm looking forward to what we're able to do in Paris once we make the team.
And there was a discussion earlier about someone like Sha'Carri looking forward to perhaps competing in Olympics in the United States in 2028. Your plans for this trials potentially being your last?
Yes, this will be my last year competing. It's just been a lot. I've been doing distance with my husband in several different places. It's been a lot mentally, even with my body. Triple jump's very hard on the body, and so I'm really excited to just cap off this amazing track and field career that I've been able to have. I'm only 28 and have been able to accomplish so much, and so it's just really nice to look back and reminisce on everything that track has been able to do for my life.
All right, Kyrie, on the end, talk about that experience in the Bahamas. Obviously, it's a group that goes down there to just try to get the job done. The U.S. would figuratively plan on being in all 4 of the relays, and just the experience down there and being part of Team USA sort of early on when everyone here is fighting for a spot to wear that jersey in Paris.
The Bahamas was fun. The crowd was electric. Like you said, it was a big event. There was a lot of teams that we will see in the Olympics and teams that we've seen before. The most fun for me was competing with my teammates. We went 1, 2, 3. So it was fun. We just went out there, had fun. We've been doing that all season, so it wasn't anything too much for us. We just wanted to stick around, have fun, and go get the job done and get our team to the Olympics.
You feel like this is a home meet?
Oh yeah, always. I always feel the love here. I mean, I mean, like everyone said, it's like you walk around, no matter if you're a big athlete, small athlete, you're new, you've been here a while, everyone knows your name, everyone's cheering for you. You know, you walk around, the fans are so intimate, they're right there. You can slap everybody's hands, you know, like you said, they're clapping for you before you even get to clap. You know, they're excited, almost more excited for you than you are. You know, you have the nerves and they're more excited, so that kind of calms everything down for you.
And just your personal readiness for this. I mean, you've made a world team individually, but this Olympic, obviously, the goal is to make it as an individual. And where do you feel like you're at?
I feel good. I mean, I feel good. We've been training really well. I feel like our group is one of the best sprint groups in the world, if not the best. So it feels like coming out here, we've been ready for a while. We just kind of been waiting for this moment. So, I mean, I feel real good. I feel like I have the opportunity to come do what I planned and want to do. I don't think I came here to. I am happy to be here, but I'm here for a purpose. You know, I'm here to do something and get a job done. I'm not here to just be a part of the moment. I'm here to be the moment. So
yeah, it's not alumni weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Job is still at hand.
Exactly.
So, all right, let's open up some questions here. If hopefully covered a few of the questions you might have, but anybody have anything for any of our athletes? And don't all start at once.
Hi, can you just talk a little bit more about the nature of your boo-boo and like how training has been going? And then part two of that question is just at times you've seemed to just be like not really enjoy the pressure that comes with running. And then I'm wondering if you're feeling just differently about it this year, especially with the American record ending your season last year.
Yeah. Nature of the boo-boo is, well, I mean, we're here at Olympic trials. If we weren't healthy enough to be here, I don't think we would have gave it a 50-50 chance. Of course, I have so many more years left in my career, and so it's really important that we prioritize our body and our health. And so we're at a good point now. We were able to get back to training pretty quickly and just get back into the rhythm of where we kind of left off. And I mean, we're in a good place. We're, I think, right where both Bobby and I feel both confident and happy and satisfied with just being able to come here and compete and just make, take obviously one step at a time, which is now competing here and then working towards the Olympic Games when the competition is over. With the pressure, I think that was your second question. I mean, I think just over the past couple of years, there's just so much that comes into, I mean, one, being a young athlete, two, being a, I guess, pretty good young athlete, and there's just so much to learn when it comes to being a professional as well. And so I just had to deal with a lot of things overall. And then, of course, I'm still human. I'm still a normal person, and there's personal things that come into the picture as well. And I think when I know that I'm not feeling my best mentally, and I think a lot of athletes here can also agree, is you feel it fall onto your athletic side and your physical side. And so I think that's just what has happened, and that is where I felt more pressure because I knew I wasn't 100% my own self. Coming into these Olympic trials, I think I'm pretty excited and just happy. I haven't stepped foot on track yet besides working out, and so it's just nice to be back in the environment of what is my job and what is my career, and to just fully appreciate not only the stadium but the fans, and once again just competing again. So I think the pressure is kind of let off just because I'm more happy than I am nervous or worried too much about what's going to happen next. It's just one round at a time, one step at a time, and as it always comes to USA's, you just got to go out every single day, put your best foot out, and just do what you have to do to get to the next step. So that's just my mentality coming into these trials, and we will start tomorrow, and hopefully you guys see this face all throughout the competition.
Hey, several of you guys have competed for Team USA, and to play off the previous question, talk about the difference in pressure, in nerves between these trials and being at the games. Is there a significant difference in what you feel here as opposed to what, if you make the team, you will feel in Paris?
Couture, do you want to take that first?
Sure. I think my perspective is unique just because the women's triple jump is an event where we have a limited amount of people who are ranked and or have the standard. And so I think I can come into the trials with a little bit less pressure than the average American athlete, knowing that I don't have to have my best day here. I can show up. I mean, I'm always going to try to do my best, of course, but I can show up without the pressure and compete to my best ability. But the Olympics is when I really have to turn it on and really have to put the game face on, because that's when it'll take a lot to qualify for the final and then also to win a medal. And so I think my perspective is a little unique in that.
That's for me. I can tell you that it's way different. I mean, you come here and you have to be ready. It's in the sprints. It's no, I can wait till the Olympics. If you're not ready here, you're not going to go. So it's one of those things to where this is almost one of the most important meets. You need to be ready now and then have to be ready again, because in our events, this is the hardest team to make in the world. So when we come in, we have to be primed. We have to be ready to go. We have to see 32 other people that want our spot as well. You know, as far as anyone else in the world, some people don't have trials at all. They get by straight to the Olympics or the Worlds or whatever it is. We never have that case. So I think it's totally different. We come here, and it always feels like a little bit more pressure here than when we get there, because there it's like, all right, we already made it. Now it's almost like a Diamond League type. We see these people every other week or whatever it is, but here it's a little different.
And Eric, in your goal setting, do you plan for Paris?
Absolutely. You know, that is the goal. I have a great coach and, you know, great teammates, and you know, this is what we've been planning on. You know, this is what I've been planning on since I was a little kid. And you know, for me, I'm not like these guys. I haven't had that success yet, but I do believe I can get there. And for me, it's like I said, this is an incredibly tough team. You know, no matter what happens, there's going to be guys that probably could make finals and do well at finals that probably won't even have an opportunity to even go to the Olympics. So, you know, I mean, this is it, and you know, this is like a big part of the season, and this is going to really, you know, decide your future. And for me, it's like, this is what I've been planning on. This is what I've been training for. So, I mean, I feel like if I can get to the Olympics, I feel like I'll be, you know, the trials will acclimate me, and it will get me ready and suited for the Olympics, because I feel like if you can get through the trials in America, you'll probably make finals and do well. So, absolutely.
Thank you. Hello. It's obvious that pressure comes with the territory, and just on that topic, I just wanted to know from some of you guys, what are some things that you do to help alleviate some of that pressure?
I guess I'll start again. What I like to do is just have some affirmations for myself, and especially reminders of times where I was in high pressure situations and able to perform at a high level. So whether it's thinking back to like 2016, when I was only 20 years old and finished 4th place at the Olympics, or just winning a US title, or like responding to my competition, I like to have those things at the top of my mind to remind myself that I've done it before and I can do it again.
Obviously, with the decathlon, there's 10 events, so there's 10 opportunities for things to go wrong, so 10 different things to worry about. So, you know, I find my mind races a lot, especially the night before a meet. So to deal with that pressure, I like to just kind of think through everything about how I'll respond, you know, anything that could go wrong, what I'll do to combat that, and I think that helps a lot with the pressure.
Okay, I can say 2 things. One's going to be pretty athletic serious. Okay, I think one of them is, of course you have expectations, and this is like, just take it with a grain of salt, because of course we all have expectations, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish when we get here. But I think for me especially, it's so great when I'm just like, all right, I don't know what's going to happen, but all I know is I'm just going to go out there, compete, do what I can do to make it round by round by round, and just get to the next level. Of course, I think thinking about everything that you need to do at one time for me kind of just gets overwhelming, because of course the race is so complex. The rounds that you have to go through, so many. There's so many days in between just the start to the end. So kind of thinking about everything, I feel like that puts pressure on my own self. So I kind of just like to leave that to the side and just think about the grand goal, which is just to go out there and be happy and have fun and be competitive, which I feel like always ends up working out when I approach it that way. And then also secondly, I brought my Benny Bear here to Oregon, and so it's like nice to feel like I'm at home, even though we're here in a different state competing. So yeah, he's basically being my emotional support. So that definitely helps too, just saying.
I would say for me, I learned not to think, just act. You know, thinking all it will do is hesitate you or make you more nervous. And, you know, I know in my training I've had my best workouts, feeling like crap, being very lethargic, being a little banged up, and still had a banger workout. And doing an altitude stint in Flagstaff taught me I never slept at all. I felt like I was dying. I felt sick every day, and I still had amazing workouts. So I'm like, you know what? You can still work out really well and perform really well, not feeling great. So no matter how you feel, you can always give your best performance. And don't think, you know, because the second you think, 3 guys might go around your shoulder, or you might not have the most well-executed race. I just got to live in the moment and just act. And I feel like if I do that, I will have the best performance. So,
Kyrie, this one's for you. First of all, back here in the back, I know I'm way back here. Hi. There we go. First of all, appreciate the green dye hair. Couldn't help that notice that beautiful Oregon forest green that you've got. It's kind of a two-parter. First of all, is there a story behind that? Reason to obviously dye your hair, coming back to Oregon, Eugene, competing here, and what do you think is the biggest difference from you from the last time you were here competing at the Olympic trials, mentally and physically, and be able to do it again now 3 years later?
Well, first for the hair, I usually always come into the season with a theme. You know, it kind of keeps the season fun, it keeps the races fun, you know, keeps everything engaged, you know, keeps my mind almost away from track for the moment. You know, we think we've been running for so long, it's just like try to get away from track a little bit sometimes. So I like to keep this fun, keep my personality going. The theme this year was the Joker. So, you know, I wanted to come in and, you know, shake things up, put a little chaos in the sport. You know, there's always those 3 guys, same guys that everybody wants to make the team or talks about or something like that. So I just, you know, wanted to throw my name into the hat and, you know, cause a little chaos or something like that. But coming here for this year versus the last Olympic trials, I mean, the last Olympic trials, that was my first year with my coach. I had made a new coaching change coming from Oregon to go to Florida. And I think it was kind of, I don't want to say I was wet behind the ears, but I kind of just didn't really know much on the professional side, you know. It was a lot that I had to learn, and I feel like now I've learned that, I've experienced so much, and there isn't much that I haven't seen by now, you know. I've seen so many different things in races and have put myself through so much, and I feel like now I'm more mature, I'm having more fun, and things are just coming a lot easier for me now. So I feel like I'm very confident for this year, and I think I have a great chance to make this team.
This question is for Harrison. A Major League Baseball player plays 162 games a season. A decathlete does 2 or 3 decathlons in a year. How do you stay motivated, you know, week after week, month after month, grinding out the training that you have to do in order to be ready? Thank you.
That's the really challenging part of the decathlon is, you know, we only do 2 or 3 per year. And so like 9 months out of the year, I'm really just at my home track, working out, training. It's challenging, but I think part of the reason I fell in love with the decathlon was because I do love the training part of it. Like that's some of the most fun part about being a decathlete is just being able to be outside and running around in a circle all day and trying to throw a metal ball really far. So I think part of it's just enjoying the process. And then, yeah, just trying to remember that the big meets come in August, July and August. So trying to just prepare for those and do what you can.
Nothing. How you doing? I think Bobby's been coaching Olympic champions since like the 1910s or something like that. He's been. Well, that's part of it. But how do you? What's the secret of his success, and how does he get you to buy in, and what makes him Bobby?
I don't know how many times we have to say it, but he's basically a mad scientist. I can say, for me, I mean, just talking to him when I first was thinking about going from my college team to professional, there was a lot that he told me that I had absolutely no idea what he was saying, just in the way that he was explaining things. I mean, I think before I went to train with him, a lot of my training wasn't as intentional. But then once I crossed over to the professional side, we started being intentional. We knew what we were training for. We knew how we would train. And so I feel like after that first year of being with him, or just a couple months of being with him, it finally clicked, the things that he was explaining to me when it came to training, when it came to just the progression of me as an athlete. And once I discovered and finally locked into it, I'm like, wow, like this all makes sense. And I think for me personally, and I think a lot of athletes too, is that everything we do on the track is working towards something. I mean, there's no days where we're just going out there just to train. We're going out there every single day to work towards whatever the goal is at the end of the year. And he just has a big plan. He has priorities. He knows where and when is the most important time for us to run fast, get records, win things. And I think with that mindset, there's kind of just a set focus that he allows us to see, so we know that we're not just out here training just to be training, just because we are professional athletes. We're always working towards something, and with that in mind, it was just an easy decision to go towards, Formula Kersey.
I think we have time for one more.
For the four athletes, Kyrie, Katura, Harrison, you don't have to go through rounds for any of this, but for each rounds, does it feel like the pressure is elevated every time, or does it feel like it gets easier as it goes along, knowing that the end goal is obviously make the final and then get to Paris? Because it just seems like you have to go through so many rounds, and the pressure just keeps going through and through so much.
I would say for me, I think I've said it a couple times to my teammates. I think the hardest round that I've experienced is semis. It's like prelims, just like, okay, you get there, you're trying to see how you're feeling, what's going on with your body, you want to make it through. And then semis, it's one of the hardest, because it's like, okay, I have to make this final now. And then once you get to the final, it's like almost the pressure isn't off at all, but it's more so like, okay, you can take a little breather and just worry about competing now and just get top 3 at that point. So it alleviates a little bit, but I think it goes up and then down. So I don't think it just continues to go up.
For me, I would say it's easier after qualifying, and I think a lot of field eventers feel this way about the qualification round, but like the way the auto queue works and only having 3 attempts, something about it I just feel like shakes things up. And so I actually think I feel more pressure and like more stress during the qualification round. And then once I'm through that, I'm like, all right, we can just compete now. I don't know what it is about it, but.
I think the 800 is a bit hard. I can also agree with Kyrie where there's kind of a fluctuation and then it goes back down, not entirely, but just a little bit. But with 800, it's a little bit hard. I mean, our field is absolutely insane. We have so many really great girls that are in not only this competition, but just year-round now. That's gone up over the years. And so every round, it can be different. And because we have 2 laps and there's so many things that can happen within those 2 laps, it kind of just, it leaves the possibility of a lot of people coming in just giving whatever circumstances they're at. Like if someone gets tripped up or if a DQ happens or whatever happens, there's just a greater chance that more people come in, or, no matter how fast they are or, what their qualifying time is coming in, there's just so many different ways that the rounds can progress. And so with that being in mind, I feel like you kind of almost have to always be locked in going through the rounds, not knowing what's going to happen. But also because it is a longer distance race, and I think winning always gets you through the next. I think that with that being in mind and having that on the tippy top of your mind, it's easier to just go from round to round to round, knowing that there's like the big cues. So I don't know if that helped. I feel like I kind of went off track, but anyways, I agree with Kyrie.
Last word from you, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I know in the 1500, there's 39 guys in the 15 right now, and last trials there was 29. So there's 10 more than last trials, which is pretty crazy. And 15 guys get eliminated in the first round. So every round you got to be on your A game. You cannot take it lightly, because every year it seems like the competition gets more and more fierce. Like, I feel like every year it's like a record. I'm like, this is like the most competitive USA qualifier ever, and this is the most competitive one. So I mean, you can't take the trials lightly at all. And I know in the 15, the last 2 years, the guy who won it the previous year didn't make finals. So like Cole Hocker won in 2021, didn't make finals in 2022. Tier 1 in 2022, didn't make finals in 2023. So it just shows you anything can happen in these rounds. They can be brutal. And so I definitely think the semis is going to be the toughest, just because like I think some favorites could possibly not make finals. So I mean, you got to be on your A game. You got to treat every round almost as if it's the finals, but obviously kind of don't kill yourself in the last bend. Just be control if you can, if you have the luxury. But also, why, like in the 15, you got to like ride the wave correctly. You know, since we're all in like lane 1, there's a lot of jostling and bumping, so you want to be cleared from any of that. So, I mean, yeah, I think the second round I agree, is the most nerve-wracking, because you want to at least make finals, because everyone, expects you to make finals. But yeah, for sure, it's semi.
All right, toughest team to make, as they say. Before I thank them formally, I just wish you guys all the best in covering all the stories. If you're a storyteller, there's no better place to be over the next 2 weeks, and everyone who walks down this little media zone has a story to tell, and make sure you try to get as many of those stories told, because I think it helps these athletes tremendously if they can have this platform resonate across either a hometown or in the cases of many of these on a global stage coming up later this summer. So congratulations and best of luck to Eric, to Athing, Harrison, Katurah, and the Joker at the end here. And thanks very much for attending our athlete press conference. We can do a photo.